Hi there folks, just in the forest here, made myself a cup of coffee. Cheers. Yeah, I always bring out this little, well not always, but usually bring out this little bag. I've got things in there, this camera for example, and things to make a cup of coffee, a little methylated spirits burner, some milk and sugar. It makes life enjoyable. So I might do this a little bit more often and make some little video blogs like this. It's nice to take the time out. Not that I have any time on. A friend of mine in Facebook asked, what are you doing? What are you doing? I find it very difficult to answer, what are you doing? What are you doing all day? What do you do? What do you do when you wake up? It's a really good question. I know that I changed what I'm doing. I used to pursue what I thought was a career. I used to think that freedom was inevitably possible through money. Like that money would buy freedom, and no money would cause the lack of freedom. That's true. It's true, money does give a certain amount of freedom. But if you look at the bigger picture of the planet, the whole of society as a working machine, failed to succeed or doom, as the case may be, but nevertheless one organism, which has to be taken into consideration. If you're dealing with a system, for example, if you're dealing with finances and stocks and shares, especially on the global market, then obviously the global market will be of interest to you. A little guy like me just wants to be free. Now it's taken me a long time to kind of try and even grasp what freedom means, let alone decipher the word in the English language that's been so disformed. Freedom. You can always divide people. You can always find a division. Men, women, older people, younger people, dark people, light people, stupid people, intelligent people. But if you was going to, divide the world about freedom, I'd say every man and woman and child wants to be free, pursue happiness, and be able to express themselves, to express their individuality, their uniqueness. People want to be free. And most people in society seem to pursue money as a key to freedom. In the short term, even for one person in his life or her lifetime, this could work. This could be a great plan. Earn as much money as you can, buy all the things you want, and you will be unscathed through this life. You'll be lucky if there's no next life. But if you do believe in reincarnation, for example, that you would come back as another soul, then you're not really making good headway for your own future. And then if you did have a little bit of heart for the children and for the children's children, the next generations, then you would obviously think of the future. So thinking short-term financially, just in your lifetime, as long as I can make it through the next 50 years, then that's okay. That's not a good thought. That's not a good reasoning. Most people I know, and rightfully so, most people I know have found a job. They didn't choose to become self-employed managers at things. They chose to join into a career and get promotions and become then bosses of the companies that they'd joined. Leaving them still in this vulnerable position of being in, in this ranking thing, always chasing the carrot on the stick to the top of the heap. Obviously doing a good job of, bringing home food and nourishment for the family and paying for everything. Sure, it's an honourable job, but it's a little bit like a catch-22 situation, where really we'd all like to be free, and money gives a certain amount of people a short-term freedom at the cost of other people's freedom. So I look at the people on the planet and I think to myself, okay, what should we be doing? What should I be doing? We should be nice, I think. We should be good. And most people are really good and good-hearted. Most people really are good-hearted. And so often a lot of the things lead back to just being passive, letting things go, letting things pass. Not getting involved in big arguments. It's the general population. I like most people. I like most people because they're good at heart. But one thing that often gets me, at the end of the day, when we get down to the nitty-gritty, I always not argue with them, but raise my spirit to them to say, stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself and what you believe to be true in your own heart. Don't listen to me. Well, listen to me, but don't take those words as being the truth. Take them as being my truth, if you can believe in my truth through my eyes and my words. But still reason with it. And that is a message. And people feel happier to be just to be nice and let things go, just to let it happen. And everyone's got the right to do that. There's a thing I wanted to talk about shepherd and sheep too. There's this word sheeple going around in society, pertaining to people who don't know about anything about any of the controversies in the world. Now I think in a way it's a little bit arrogant, snobby or class thinking of the so-called awake people to think that the others are just sheep. Okay, let me give you a reason for that. All my life I've been looked after in various ways, and I've looked after other people, okay, but I've never been a good gardener. I used to plant plants as a kid, and used to pick peas and do all these things, but I've never been a gardener. I've never been a cook. I've never been a healer. I've never been very good at healing. I've always healed myself and occasionally stitched up a cut or done something or helped somebody else. But I'm not good in healing. I'm not good in building. So, we have got these roads and these buildings, and I'm not saying that they're all there because of the government or anything. They're there because of people, yeah. People like me and you and other people have put their little piece in. I've put in music and artwork and technology and other fields that I'm good at, you see. So, but as far as it goes with plants and food, I've been asleep all these years, and only now, since the last few years, I've been waking up to growing vegetables and things in such a way. So I consider myself a sheeple when it comes to gardening. I consider myself a sheeple when it comes to health, a lot of issues, a lot of things. But there's certain points where I know I can lead or guide others, like a shepherd, you know. And I think in a way, it's the responsibility of a shepherd. It's not a position of arrogance. It's the position of the fact that it's nice to be a sheep. It's nice to follow a flock and not have to worry. It really is nice to know that your shepherd is looking after you. It is nice to know that you've got a professional, or not professional, but you know, a proficient, good-hearted shepherd, and not a sheep in shepherd's clothing. You know, there's a Tolkien, from a Tolkien book, from Lord of the Rings, where Treebeard says, you know, one of the tree ents, ent is a word for giant in Anglo-Saxon, but Treebeard says, sheep get like shepherds and shepherds get like sheep. And I think that's what's happened in society, because this quality, the shepherd's quality is not necessarily an authoritarian position. It's not really the case that the shepherd has like any kind of overhand over the sheep. The shepherd's there to guide and look after the sheep, and to herd his flock. So we're all sheep and we're all shepherds, and we have to recognise the times where we've got to be a good shepherd and the other times we've got to be a good sheep, because sometimes, you know, people do lead others astray. So then I think to myself, there's no time anymore for shepherds to sit down and be just nice and ignore everything. I'm not saying it's time to get nasty, you know, because of course it's all about love. But sometimes we compromise love in order to keep everything normal, to not rock the boat. Love is passionate, love is... I heard a quote the other day on the film, love costs nothing, love costs everything. So in a free world, freedom is the freedom to express love. But if we define freedom as having the money to be free, we build an artificial structure around the meaning of love and freedom, because we're chasing the wrong values. So I might leave this one here for now, because it's long enough. As soon as I begin to try and conclude anything about anything, you know, I really just become just an opinion. And I don't really think the opinion really matters. I think it's more the expression, the performance, the art, the livingness, the living. I don't really aim to be right or wrong on these videos, and I don't look for other people to be right and wrong. What I look for is what I feel. I feel my way through life. And I imagine you do the same. You know, I can only speak for myself on feel. I'm either doing or feeling. Or sometimes I'm miles away thinking. So I'm going to sit and contemplate some more. Have a good time.